Hello, everyone. My name is Genevieve Trousdale. I'm an interior designer based in Los Angeles, and I have been here for 16 years, and I have traveled the globe designing and installing really complex projects. And I focus on residential design, and I also, a couple of years ago in 2020, launched a company called Circaphiles, which is a membership organization for interior designers to find resources, that's brands and service providers for their projects. You can network with other designers across the country on our platform, and you can also reference many educational materials to help you run your projects and provide support for your staff that supports you. I'm from the South, from Louisiana, so I kind of have this affinity for, French antiques and just kind of influence in general. I'm also, I moved out to California at a very early age, so I feel like I have a lot of fresh aspects that I infuse into the design. So maybe it is, a silhouette of a table that's based on an old piece, but it's finished in like a high lacquer red, or so it's taking, the mix of those two elements. I am kind of known for being more of a traditionalist because I've worked with Timothy Corrigan, that was my last employer. Michael Berman was much more streamlined and modern, but a lot of people kind of think of me in that way, but no, I have very different projects. Like I said, traveled the world designing projects in the Middle East and Paris and in remote areas of the US. So I had to, there was a lot of time and energy burnt on finding the right resources for these clients that were constantly traveling and wanting something that they've never seen before, and also just finding trades to service the projects. It was just a mountain of work. And so I began early on kind of recording all of these resources in this like rudimentary spreadsheet, and kind of became known as this person with this resource bank. And so that kind of turned into like different design circles that were formed, and we would text back and forth in a group saying, oh, my wallpaper installer just bailed on me. Do you have another one? Or, we just installed this at the project and it doesn't look so great. What do you guys recommend? You just need some kind of that, some of that camaraderie and a sounding board, even if you work in a busy office. Sometimes you don't want to ask your boss these questions or your superior. So that all kind of came to me. I also trained many design teams on how to run these sophisticated projects, and how I learned was totally trial by fire. And many things were, mistakes that were embarrassing, and wanted to make sure that not only it didn't happen again, but that the next person behind me or my team member doesn't make that same mistake. So I developed all of these educational materials, templates, and guides on how to conceptualize a project and present it and expedite it and install it and maintain it. So all of these kind of just experiences at a very high level of design, I finally said, I've got to share this in a good way with like-minded designers. And so I wouldn't say it comes from being like a natural leader. I guess I've kind of fallen into that, but I'm just such a sharer. And I think that's so important in our industry. If we don't, help people with their experiences, then we can't lift the industry up as a whole. Circaphiles has kind of been on tour this year, growing our membership, and now that we can kind of safely go out and about. We went to the East Coast for 2 weeks. We were in Atlanta and Charleston and High Point. and we're going to Chicago in early June. We have partnered with the Design Social Pop-Up. It's kind of like a miniature trade show with like 30 different vendors at a beautiful kind of estate, and a day of sourcing and networking. So we have several other locations like Nashville and the Sonoma wine country. Having a diversified just pool of resources is, in non-COVID, non-pandemic times, will work to your advantage. I've always worked that way. Different projects have different budgets. These upholsterers or whatever, your drapery workrooms, they have different, styles and what they can do better than others. So making sure that you pair the right resource with the project is really important. And I would say for someone who's looking for more resources, it really is possible and quite easy once you kind of open your mind to it, but maybe looking outside of your city for your workroom or your pillow maker, or, I have a lot of my upholstery made in other states, and as long as you can establish a, standard system of standards for what your expectations are, and, visit the factory, I think your collaboration will be successful. So maybe looking in your tri-state area, first off, you can go sit in their pieces in their workroom. And a lot of small batch makers is another tip, are not really, facing the same shipping delay issues because maybe their product is not mass produced in a foreign country. And it's made locally in their town where they have more quality control over their own product. Maybe they are making the product and don't have such volume of sales that will delay your order. So those are, my recommendations that just really do some exploring. And yes, Circaphiles has a lot of those resources. Recently had a lot of people, kind of be surprised that I am still truly a solopreneur. I run a very small office with my design firm, even though I work on large, complex projects, and I also run my Circaphiles business. But I have, outsourced where I need help. But I really love the close connection that I have with my clients. I want to keep that. Not to say larger firms lose touch, so certainly not saying that, but this is what works for me and what feels good.